Welcome. This is going to be the first video in the basics of scripting using Play Canvas. So I'm going to create a brand new project inside Play Canvas. It's going to be a blank project and I'm going to call it scripting. Open the editor and I'll go to my only scene. Alright, and I'll go ahead up here where it says Untitled. That's the name of the scene. So you click on that. The scene name is Untitled. You can go ahead and just call it something like Level 1 is great. Okay, and there we go. Now my scene is called Level 1. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add a script to the box here. This is what we did in class. So I'm going to come down here to Assets, click on the little plus, and I'm going to make a new folder. With the folder selected, I'm going to rename the folder and I'll call it Scripts. Double click the folder to go inside, click on the plus button again, and click on Script to add a script. I'll go ahead and I'll call this one box move and press return, and there's the script.js. I'll go ahead and double click. So I open up the script editor and there's my code. I'm zooming in by pressing Command plus. On a Mac you can press Command minus to zoom out. On a Windows device you can do Control plus and Control minus and zoom in and zoom out. Okay, so what we went over in class is that over here on the left you have all the numbers to describe the lines of code. So if you're having an error in line 10, you can reference it, or if you're working with other people, you can know who's working on what. On line 1 here, this is the name of your script. Then you have here, you have what's called an initialize function, and then you have an update function. So the initialize function means whatever code is happening in this section here, it will only happen when the game starts, and it will only happen once. For the update function, whatever code happens inside here, it will happen always. Code is written in between these curly brackets. So you'll see there's an open curly bracket right here, and then there's a closed curly bracket. And so the code has to happen in between here. Now I only have one line, that's line 5. But if I press return a couple of times, I now have more spaces of line and I can write as much code as I want. And I can go ahead and just delete that back to line 5. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and add in a single line of code here in the update function. So I'm going to click here in line 10, and I'm going to go ahead and type in this dot or period entity, and the spelling very much counts, dot translate, because I want the object to move, so translate, and then the word local, and you'll see that these little mini menus are popping up. If you want to just click on these because maybe you're not the best speller in the world, you can just go ahead and double click it and it will then go ahead and put it in there. Okay, so you'll notice that over here on the left I'm getting this little red symbol here telling you that it's wrong for 2 reasons. It's basically saying that it's got something missing and it's missing a semicolon. So what it's missing is it's missing some numbers, some values. So I have to do an open parentheses, and now this little pop-up here is telling me I need a number for the x-axis, the y-axis, and the z-axis. So I'm going to go ahead and type in a small number. I'm going to type in 1 for the x-axis, comma 0 for the y-axis, comma 0 for the z-axis. Now, I'm not quite done. You'll see I'm missing a semicolon. So what that means is I need to do my closing parentheses, and then I need to do a semicolon. A semicolon is basically like how you end a line of code. It's kind of like putting putting a period at the end of a sentence. You're done with the sentence. So in JavaScript, the semicolon is the end of the line. The curly bracket right here is the end of the code. Okay, so all the code ends up inside there. Okay, so I need to save this now. I can either go here to File, Save File, or you can press Command S or Control S. All right, so I'm going back here I'm going to zoom back out. All right, so now I'm going to select my box over here. I'm going to come over here and click on Add Component, and I'm going to add a script component. And now it adds this little area down here. It says script. You used to be able to drag and drop the JavaScript onto there, but it doesn't work anymore, unfortunately. So now you simply click inside this box, and then it puts up a little menu here, and you can see I only have one. So I just clicked on it. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select my camera, and when I select my camera, it shows me what the camera can see. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom out just a little bit. I'm going to bring my camera up a little bit, maybe back a little bit. There we go. Okay, so now I'll press play or launch. And if you caught it, the box went flying off. And the reason why it did that is because of one number. It's because of that number 1. So what's happening is that this update function is happening 60 times in 1 second. So it moved one unit times 60 in 1 second. So it moved a really far amount. So we basically need a smaller number. We need to get into a decimal here. So if I go ahead and I change that to something like 0.2, I can tell you I've already tried this. This is really still pretty fast. So I'm going to do 0.05. Okay? I need to save. I'll go back. And I don't need to add it again because it's already on the box. So I'll just press play or launch. And there we go. Now that I've found the right number, I can go ahead and play it. And you'll see that it just keeps going forever and ever and ever because it's in the update area. Now, if I go ahead and I add in a number here on another axis, like if I do 0.05 on the y-axis, okay, and I'll save. Now it's going to move on 2 axes. It's going to move on the x-axis and the y-axis. So launch. And because it's moving on the x and the y-axis, you'll see it's moving at a diagonal. Okay? So that's it for this tutorial. I hope that helped you out, at least get you started with some basic moving around. The next tutorial, we will try to move an object around with some keyboard actions. Thanks, everyone.